for our Acts of Kindness dinner. Acts of Kindness is a ministry that honors a woman who has suffered loss, whether that be divorce, loss of income, a health-related diagnosis, or a loss of a loved one. We will be gathering on October the 26th at Johnny Mitchell's Smokehouse, with them men in New Harley forever. I just come to know them as Johnny Mitchell's Barbecue. But we will be gathering October the 26th at their location on Henderson Drive at 10 a.m. in the morning. The event usually lasts till about 11:30. Just want to give them a special thanks for providing our recipients meal for that event. And then also, just to let everyone that may not know, Acts of Kindness is a 501c3 ministry. All funds raised on this event will go to Meghan at the end of the event, excluding the cost of the food purchase. It's $10 for adults, please bring cash, and $5 for children under 12. Just wanted to share a little bit about how Meghan became nominated this month. My ministry, Footprints on the Heart, was made aware of Meghan and the upcoming loss of her son, Cooper, from a dear friend of mine named Ansley. We found out a few days before her loss that she would be delivering her precious son. And so that's how I first was introduced to her. And I remember praying on the way to the Acts of Kindness dinner that we were at last, Lord, you know who needs to be chosen, which is our belief every month. And I just prayed that he would bless over any nominations, including mine. And it was an honor when Meghan's name was chosen. I'm going to let Meghan share about her story and the amount of information that she's comfortable sharing today. And then we will share more at our event on October the 26th.
Okay, so my name is Meghan, and of course you're going to see Posey popping in every now and then. She's my youngest. She's about to be 3. But I don't even think Christy knows this, but she's just shared about how Acts of Kindness helps, it's for loss of anyone, another person or divorce or whatever. And the last probably 3 years of my life has been a lot of loss, a lot of grief. And so it's really an honor for me. It makes me feel really loved that you've been here, because I am married again, happily this time, but I was going through a really, really tough divorce. Very tough, the hardest thing I thought at the time I had ever been through. And it took about a year to go through that, and then right before my divorce was finalized, my dad passed away. He had a heart attack and was found alone in his apartment. And Posey, can you pick those up? So I was kind of depressed for a while and on some antidepressants and anxiety medication for a little while, because I was just in a really, really sad, dark place. I didn't feel like I had really anybody. And then I met my husband probably, a year later, right at a year later. And we got married this past November, and we just really mesh well together. We communicate, and just life is different, and it's a lot better. And so we decided, since I already have 3 children, that if we were going to have children together, because he doesn't have any children, that we should try now. And so we decided, I got my IUD taken out, and the next month we tried, and I got pregnant first try. And so we were just ecstatic. I even brought the little the announcement that I made. I know you can't see it on the camera, but it says, faith. This is what I showed him. Faith as small as a mustard seed can move mountains. Matthew 17:20. And I put a little mustard seed on there, and so this is the size of our baby mustard seed, and that was on May 17th of this year. So yeah, that was my little announcement to him, and he was just overjoyed because he doesn't have children, and it's just, I mean, it's a blessing regardless, and so he was just really excited. And so we went to Disney this summer, and I think God was really protecting us from, it was our first time going to Disney, so I think we discovered that he had passed before we even left, but we didn't know. And so we spent the week in Disney, took all the girls, and it was all of our first time there, so it was a really fun trip. And when we got back the following week, I had just a routine doctor's appointment. I was 16 weeks and 6 days, I think I was. I was almost 17 weeks. And it was just routine check. They just, laid me back on the table. They wanted to, check my measurements and check the baby's heartbeat with the Doppler. And she couldn't find his heartbeat. And so she said, well, sometimes they get in there and they kind of hide, and it makes it really hard to find the heartbeat on the Doppler. So let me just get the ultrasound machine. I got really nervous because I was just, scared. And it was about the time I should have been starting to feel some movement. So I didn't really have that to go on because I wasn't sure if I was feeling movement or, what I was feeling. And so she took me into the ultrasound room, and of course I had my 3-year-old with me, and I had told Matt, don't worry about this appointment, it's just a routine check. And he was still behind from where we were on vacation, so I told him to just go into work, no big deal, just routine check. There's no ultrasounds or anything like that, and I just was trying to stay positive the whole time. And she put the ultrasound, or the Doppler on my belly, and I just was looking at her face the whole time, and her facial expressions just didn't change. They looked kind of disappointed in a way, and I guess I was just hoping for a smile, or something. There he is. And then I heard her click print, and I heard something print, and I just thought to myself, this isn't good. And she turned the screen around, and I know what to look for. I've been through this before, and I did not see movement where the heartbeat should be, and I was just hoping she would just say something different or show me something different, or the machine wasn't on or something. She said, do you see this little space right here where his heartbeat, where his heart would be? And I said, there's no heartbeat. And she said, no, there's no heartbeat. I'm so sorry. And I just lost it. It was my worst nightmare. I watched movies all the time. Marla and Me, is one where they lost baby. They're in the room, and you hear there's no heartbeat. Those words, there's just nothing like hearing those words. And I always thought to myself, dear God, please don't let me have to ever go through that. And I did. I went through it. And I just thought everything, my whole world, she was watching me just lose it, and I didn't have anybody else there because I wasn't expecting that. And so I called my husband, hysterical, and I said the baby has no heartbeat, and he was, like, what? Shocked. And I told him again, and then it was, of course, at the time I had to pick my girls up from school, so I was like, I've got to find somebody to pick my girls up from school. So I had that I was worried about, because I wasn't mentally prepared for that. I wasn't ready. And so I called my mom, who was actually almost to Atlanta to a doctor's appointment, and they had to turn around and come home and pick up my other girls from school. And so I was relieved that they were able to do that, because I don't know how I would have gotten there. But so my husband, left work and came. He actually called his mom, who had just had surgery and was still recovering. Like literally the day before, she was like not able to get out of bed. But she said, "Thank God that day I jumped up out of bed like I can't even believe." And I rushed to the doctor's office to be with me. I can't even believe she made it that fast. But I'm grateful that she came. She knew she had to be there for me before, since it was going to take Matt a little bit longer to get to me. And she waited with me. And the doctor came in and checked again. The main doctor over the whole practice. He came in and checked, and just to show me everything, and showed me if there was blood circulation, those red and blue lights would be coming in through his body just like it was all around me. And so Matt finally came in, and my mother-in-law was able to take Posey, but there for a minute, when it was just me and Posey, I picked her up and she said, "Did the doctor hurt your eye?" And I said, "No." "Why do you ask that?" And she said, "The doctor made you cry." "Why did the doctor make you cry?" And so I had to tell her that the baby had no heartbeat and that he was in heaven. And that was a really hard moment, because I had to explain to my 3-year-old, who was there for the whole thing, what happened. And I know she doesn't fully understand, but so the plan was I had to be, they had to insert something called laminaria to dilate my cervix. And I had to go through that process 2 times, and that was the most painful. I would say that because I knew there wasn't really a joy coming from the whole situation, I was still in shock and upset from everything. I had that emotional pain and that physical pain working together, and I couldn't bear it. It was really, really hard, and it was hard for my husband to watch me go through all of this. So they called me in the next morning to have that procedure done for the first time, and then I knew there was a chance that because of that, I could naturally have the baby at home. He said it was unlikely, but there was a possibility, and that terrified me. That I would be doing this without help from a hospital or doctors or nurses, and I wasn't sure what was going to happen, so I was really, really scared about that. And thank God that did not happen. But I did go back later that afternoon. I had to get those taken out, and they had to put more in. I had to sleep on it overnight, and then I went into the hospital the next morning for them to induce the labor. And so they had to insert little pills, I guess, and help the labor start. And they said it could take up to 3 or 4 rounds, and they weren't sure. It just depended on my body, and you could only give it every 3 hours. So, and I believe it took about 9 or a little bit more than 9 hours. They had to give it to me 3 times. And we were just waiting the whole time, and of course the doctor that was on call and my midwife, they recommended I get the epidural just to help with everything, and so I did do that. I knew I was going to do that. I'm glad it was able to give me a little bit of rest too. And so I got the epidural, and some time passed. It was late that evening before I started to feel some difference. My water my waters broke. I wasn't sure, I was terrified because I didn't know if it was the baby or what was happening, but I knew I felt something, and they came in and confirmed it was my waters.